court up until then had ever agreed that there could be a lawsuit brought by a student who'd suffered anti-gay violence in a public school. The revolution was, this was the first court to do that. Never been done before. They said, you've got a lawsuit, you're going to get your day in court.
The lawsuit against the school district, middle school principal Podlesny, high school assistant principal Blauert, and high school principal Davis was big news.
A young homosexual who was beaten and tormented by his classmates is suing his school district for failing to protect him.
I realized, I think for the first time, how big this case really was and how much it meant to so many people. I started getting a lot of letters of support from people from all over the country.
But some in Ashland were angry.
We started getting threats. We'd find things in the mailbox. Started getting threats on the telephone. They'd leave messages.
Who do you think you are suing the schools? That faggot son of yours deserved everything he got.
Finally, the trial began. David Springer from the renowned law firm Skadden Arps was Jamie's lead attorney.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case will show that it's about a gay boy, my client, Jamie Nabozny, who grew up in Ashland, Wisconsin. He went to the high school and the middle school there, but virtually every day in those schools, he was subjected to harassment and abuse.
One of the first witnesses was Jamie's mother.
So, Mrs. Nabozny, did a meeting ever take place?
Yes, it did.
Where?
At the middle school.
And can you tell us what happened at that meeting?
Mrs. Podlesny asked the boys if they had called Jamie names or had done what he said they did in the bathroom, and they denied it.
Do you remember if she said anything else at that meeting?
She said that if Jamie was going to act so openly gay, he had to expect that kind of stuff to happen.
One of the trial's most dramatic moments came early, when Roy Grandy, one of Jamie's principal attackers, testified. In jail on unrelated charges, he was escorted into the courtroom.
When Roy Grandy came into the courtroom, I was kind of surprised that he was there in his prison oranges. I really was. And everyone got really quiet.
Mr. Grandy, would it be fair to say that you and your friends picked on Jamie through the 7th and 8th grade?
Yes, sir.
And Roy was absolutely truthful about everything.
You remember tripping him?
Yes, sir.
Pushing him around?
Yes, sir.
Knocking books out of his hands?
Yes, sir.
Throwing things at him?
Yes, sir.
He got up on the witness stand and started to recite what had happened from his perspective.
Was in science class, and me and Jason were kind of picking on Jamie. And I think I do believe Jason blew in his ear, something to that effect.
You remember anything else that happened in that incident?
I think I put my hand on his rear end.
So you grabbed it?
Yeah.
To me, the most significant part of the trial, and in some ways the most difficult, was when Roy Grandy got up to testify on the stand and talk about all the things that he'd done to me. I guess having to remember a lot of that stuff, and then having my mom have to listen to him describe what he did to me over and over again. It was really hard.
Were you ever suspended from school for anything you did to Jamie?
No, sir.
Did Mr. Blauert or Mr. Davis ever criticize you for anything you ever did to Jamie?
No, sir.
Another key witness was Roy Grandy's mother, who recalled meeting with middle school principal Podlesny and Jamie's mother.
Now, Mrs. Grandy, do you recall the first time you ever met Jamie Nabozny?
Yes, I do. I was called into the office in regards to some words that were spoken in the middle school, and my son was laughing at them.
And was Mrs. Podlesny present?
Yes, she was.
It was a turning point for us. She was basically sitting there saying, "Dear jury, I'm on the other side here, but you know what Jamie and his parents are saying? Looks like it's true to me, because I was there."
Late on the trial's first day, Jamie took the stand.
You know, we had a lot of witnesses get up on that stand, but it was when Jamie got up, in particular, that you could have heard a pin drop. There was just absolute silence. Even when he wasn't talking, you just didn't hear the slightest sound.
I was sitting and had my books in my lap, and a couple bullies came up to me, and one of them told me he wanted to fight me. I informed him that I wouldn't fight with him, at which point he said, "Well, if you don't fight, I'm gonna kick the crap out of you." I went back to what I was doing and I ignored him, and he kicked my books out of my hand, and as I bent over to pick them up, he repeatedly kicked me until the lights in the library came on.
And did you tell anybody about this, Jamie?
Not right away, no.
Why not?
He threatened me.
And what did he say?
He said, "If you tell anybody, I'll kill you."
It was powerful to be able to see Jamie get his chance to let the truth come out and to have others hear it and judge it for themselves in the sort of the clear light of a courtroom where things had to be full and they had to be fair. And to watch him realize he was having his moment.
When school administrators took the stand, they denied any knowledge of what had happened to Jamie.
Ma'am, the question is, as you sit here today, do you have any present recollection of ever speaking with Mr. or Mrs. Nabozny?
No, I do not.
Do you have any present recollection of ever speaking with Jamie Nabozny?
No, I do not.
On some level, it was difficult to hear her just deny everything. But on another level, so much had come out up till that point, and all the truth had already been told, and I think she just looked ridiculous denying it all.
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
We went into closing arguments uncertain. To tell you the truth, we were doing something that had never been done before. We were in a small town, very, very small town in the American Midwest. It was hard to say what was going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, no child deserves to go through what Jamie Nabozny had to go through. Every child deserves equal protection under the law. That is what this case is about. Now, as you go back to deliberate, and you have that form of verdict before you, the question is, did these defendants intentionally discriminate? And I think that you will find from the evidence and from the law that the answer must be yes. Thank you. Hello?
They're back.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did any of the following defendants intentionally discriminate against the plaintiff on the basis of his gender or sexual orientation?
Jamie's mother was sitting next to me. She was holding my hand, and they had to read through, each person.
Mary Podlesny.
Yes.
William Davis?
Yes.
Each time she squeezed harder and harder. I thought my knuckles were going to break.
Thomas Blowert?
Yes.
But we had the liability verdict. We'd won. We'd won.
I was ecstatic and I wanted to scream and yell and grab Jamie. Inside my heart was just beating so fast, and I was so happy and I was so proud of him for doing what he did. Very proud. Still am.
As an attorney, a trial attorney, I found it so hard not to jump up. We knew with this verdict that we were going to be reaching schools across the country.
One of the best feelings I'd ever had, that this court had said not only was it wrong, but that these three people who were supposed to do their jobs and protect me didn't, and that they were responsible for that, was the best feeling in the world.
The school district itself was not found liable, but it quickly negotiated a monetary settlement. Jamie was awarded $900,000.
It was something that sent a message to, school districts all over the country that this isn't okay. What happened here isn't okay. And not only is it not okay for humans to treat each other this way, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. And you need to do something about it.
There were thousands, millions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender kids in public schools all over the country going through a similar hell. And they had a reason to have some more courage now. We had one young man in Texas who said he got the article the next morning. There was a picture of Jamie and a story about how this school district was going to owe almost $1 million. He put